Hey guys, what's up? We have another weekend in the books, and I wanted to take a look at the cost of these decks so you can see, again, how much value there is in the NFTs going around, not just for the values themselves, of course, because we know the values fluctuate, but what we're looking at is this game is not a direct pay-to-win situation, right? Even though a lot of people want to suggest that it may be. It's not exactly that, though. At the top levels, you do have to have quite a bit of expensive cards and an expensive deck. But I like to take a look at these and just to give you an idea of what the value is now based on these decks. But, right, again, of course, as always, with everything changing on a daily basis with the economy, the God's Unchained economy, we've got who knows how much this stuff could be worth 6 weeks or 2 years from now. So who knows? We'll keep an eye on this as it develops and be able to point out, maybe go back and look at some of the cost of these decks somewhere down the line. So here's what we're doing. Check this out. This is pretty wild. If you are paying attention to what's happening in the top weekend ranked games, we got the top three is Caution Fun. We got Aura and Pega. Devoted, we got Toxic Faex, Dreadnought 27, and it goes down from there. But you'll notice an interesting bit here is that the 24 wins is you have to get 24 this week to get into the top 10. So it's a pretty brutal beat here when you're talking about competition wise. So that's okay. It's going to be what it is. And again, as they balance this game and it starts to shake out and do whatever it's going to do, then we're just going to roll with the punches and follow up and be able to talk about it anyway. And hopefully, one day we'll be punching up there with the big boys with these big expensive decks. And so the top three, of course, are, as you would expect, they're control decks. They're control war deck and 2 control death decks. Less important because I'm not the strategy expert here, but what I can do is point out how much these decks are actually worth. So if you look at this and you go to the first individual here, this is Caution Fun, and he's using a war deck. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you so you can see. And what it is, of course, is a bunch of cards I don't own. So that's okay. Again, it's a very expensive deck, and that's what we're looking at today. So check this out. The cost of this particular deck, you can see Out of Its Misery is there. He's got the Demogorgons, of course, Carnage Sweep. He's got all kinds of real stuff in here. The Soul Survivor, Strength in Numbers, lots of good stuff. Clearly, if you're going to beat, he was the only undefeated player in the weekend event with 25 wins and 0 losses. So, of course, if you're going to be undefeated, you got to have the bangingest cards. But check this out. How much does this deck cost? You got it, 1.6893 Ethereum, which, of course, if you do the math, yeah, this deck costs $5,224.42 for those of you actually counting. And, well, what does that mean? It means that I'm not rich enough to play in this game yet. But, again, keep punching, keep banging. You saw not too long ago I drew a pretty expensive card on my own with just doing my regular thing. So there's that, all right? So it gets better, though. This deck, so the first deck, the undefeated guy, his deck came in at $5,224. Second place, so that was the war deck, actually. This deck came in second place, and this is Clutch, Cujo Clutch. And take a look at this, and you'll see. And the price of this, Ethereum-wise, is 1.5215, which we'll get to in US dollars in just a second. But he's got the Blight Bombs, Return to the Cave. Again, a whole bunch of cards I don't own. This is okay, because again, like I said, I'm not in this class yet. He's got the Etheric Hydra, the Demogorgons, of course, That Which Aches. Lots of good stuff here. The trial begins. And this is, again, a control death deck. And how much is this worth? Yeah, you got it. Let's go. 1.215 Ethereum, which is what this says here, goes for approximately $4,680, right? So again, we're talking to be in the top three, you've got to be swinging at around a $5,000 deck at this point. Last week when we did this, the top guy that was undefeated actually had a $3,500 deck, and number 2 and number 3 were both over 5,000 US dollars. So again, like I said, these prices fluctuate, so don't go be selling any houses or moving or anything like that. Don't stick your neck out based on the cost of the cards now. However, well, we'll see what tomorrow brings. So for the time being, that's what we're looking at, approximately a $5,000 US dollar deck to be kind of banging in the top three. And let's check out the top three. It rounds out with Pega, P-E-G-A. Here's his deck. All these links will actually be in the description below. So not just so we can see exactly what cards they're using, you can look them up yourselves, try and build these decks if you prefer. But I also want to be able to come back for posterity and check how much these decks are worth, let's say in 6 months from now. And we'll do that. We'll make that part of the rubric of this channel as we go, because that's an interesting game to play regarding, okay, so let's say it's January now, say we come back in June and start looking at maybe the weekend events of January and pricing the decks then. So it'll kind of be an interesting thing to look at. But anyway, so back to Pega here. The price of this deck, again, this is a death control deck, is 1.89 Ethereum over there on the left. As you can see, holy smokes, right? So how much is that? Yeah, that deck comes in at a whopping $5,816, right? Okay, all right, there you go. So nearing 6,000 US dollars. So what does this mean? It means that these decks are expensive. That's what it means. It means probably a lot of these cards you won't have, or if you're listening to this and you do have these cards, then hopefully you're climbing up and you're going to be banging with the big boys here soon, and you'll be able to compete and maybe show up on these lists. But anyway, if you enjoy this type of thing, just kind of looking at the cost of the decks and whatnot, I'm doing it for a couple reasons. One, to show you the value of the Gods Unchained NFTs, and number two, to actually, like I said, come back months from now for posterity to be able to look at the actual deck codes themselves and reprice these decks and see what they're worth maybe 6 months or a year down the road. So we're definitely going to do that. Thanks again for hanging out. We'll catch you guys in the next one.